Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. A lot has been made recently about Fernando Tatis, as well as written and unwritten rules of baseball. If you don't want a guy hitting 2 grand slams off you in a game, pitch better. But I do have a rule that needs to be put in effectively, and I mean tonight effectively. Every baseball announcer, play-by-play or color commentator should be banned from talking about replay while the umpires are still looking at it. It's not just here, it's all over the country. Nobody cares what the play-by-play guy thinks, especially when the hometown guy thinks that 95% of the calls are against his home team, and many of them don't know the rules anyway. The next guy who does it ought to be banned for 10 games with no arguments by anybody, including the real umpires. We've got Dennis Manoloff with us. More Sports, and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Wednesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine. Now into our 25th consecutive year, powered by cleveland.com. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can also email us during the show, and you can do that at reallesLevine@gmail.com. The D-Man, Dennis Manoloff, is with us. Hello, D-Man.
What's up, Les? Great to be on again.
The hottest guy in the media, Dennis Manoloff.
I've been busy. That's good to hear. I mean, it's good to know.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. 216-575-0403 is the number. Since, it goes by my theory, you wait around and you don't have to wait too long, but something's going to happen in Cleveland sports to get you talking. And we, last week, the Plesac and rest of that story hadn't broken yet. Now it seems like it's been a month.
Yeah, Les, we last talked obviously a week ago today, and then Friday afternoon was when the two guys, Plesac and Clevinger, were put on the restricted list, if memory serves. And and then you get the reports the past couple of days about how contentious the team meeting was in Detroit on Friday, and how, the reports are that Oliver Perez said that he was going to opt out of the season if those guys were still on the roster. So it's just a chaotic scene. When you look at organizations in Major League Baseball, the Indians would be at the bottom if you had to think, okay, something like this is going to happen. And yet here it is, with all that kind of chaos. That said, since the team meeting in Detroit, where all the grievances were aired and the whatever amount of yelling and screaming was done, or finger pointing, they're 4-0 because they swept the Tigers. They had the off day Monday, and then they beat the Pirates last night. And
then again, I don't care. People say, well, it's only the Tigers, it's only the Pirates. It doesn't matter. They're major league teams playing in a major league schedule, and a win is a win. What do you do if you're the Indians? If you're Chernoff and Antonetti and Dolan, what do you do? And Francona?
Yeah. And Les, first of all, if you're the Indians, you never apologize for being in the AL Central. That's the gift that keeps on giving, and you're grateful for it. And by the way, when you beat a team 20 times in a row over 2 seasons, that's an incredible accomplishment. That's the current streak of the Indians over the Tigers. I don't care who it is. To beat a team 20 times in a row is remarkable.
They changed they changed the media guys in Detroit. They used to say that the Tigers were owned by Mike Ilitch, the pizza king up there. But now it says they're owned by the Cleveland Indians.
Indeed. But we'll see what happens this weekend when the Tigers come to Cleveland. Regarding Plesac and Clevinger, I mean, it's a mandatory 10 days on the restricted list, and then you figure out what to do with them. It's hard, Les, and this is what's so bizarre about it. It's hard to pick which one you're angrier at, because Clevinger didn't come clean, the weekend in question in Chicago, whereas Plesac was busted right away. Clevinger didn't get busted till Monday. So you would think that the more egregious act was administered by or occurred from Clevinger. And then Plesac decides he's going to do that ride-along video on Instagram where he sets the record straight and tells the truth about the matter. And that was a complete debacle. And I believe that's been taken down. It was taken down shortly after it went up, and teammates are upset about that. So both guys have you scratching your heads as to why they're doing what they're doing and why they did what they did. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I do know this from reading a couple of stories. If the Indians were to keep Clevinger down for an additional couple of weeks, it could affect his service time and his ability to become a free agent sooner than later. It could delay his free agency by a year. And that is, that's when you walk into MLBPA waters. So my sense is both guys are going to be back shortly after their 10-day mandatory stay is over.
D-Man, this is one of the only teams, and this is one of the only years because of the 60-game schedule, where any team could even come close to surviving this. If you're playing 162 games, you cannot survive this. You play 60, you got a shot at it in this particular year. But it's a tough call. So many things go into that. 216-575-0403. Then you have the ironic play at Berea, where Mack Wilson allegedly runs into the shoulder or the neck of Nick Chubb, and Chubb is now in the protocol for concussions. We'll see how that sets out. And the very next day, it is Wilson who gets the injury. He suffered a hyperextended knee, according to Mike Garofalo of NFL Network. That's almost too hard. It's almost like somebody made up that story, but it's not possible because nothing like that could ever happen.
Yeah, Les, that's either karma or OIC. Take your pick, because only in Cleveland does something like that happen. I happened to catch the clip. It was on Channel 3 of Wilson tackling Chubb, and he went high and wrapped him up around the neck and dropped him, and clearly that that caused Chubb to be dinged. And Njoku was one of the guys who came over and got in Wilson's face after that happened. But now you see Wilson down, and of course you don't want anybody to be injured, period. You certainly, even though Mack Wilson did that to Chubb, it wasn't intentional, but it was reckless, though. You have to acknowledge that. Regardless, you don't want Mack Wilson to get injured, and especially given that he's a linebacker, and we know full well that the Browns linebacking core leaves something to be desired to begin with. So this is a loss for the Browns, no doubt about it. And you hope he can get back relatively soon.
Stefanski says, "Welcome to Berea in the NFL." I mean, this kind of stuff happens here all the time. I was thinking the other day of some incidences over the years, and they happen. There's no question about that. Charles Bentley is one.
Yeah, and I know it happens elsewhere, but my point about OIC, Les, has always been this. And by the way, the term, as far as I know, was coined by our buddy Kenny Rhoda. We know him well. OIC, only in Cleveland. It's not that these type of incidents don't happen elsewhere. It's that they happen all the time in Cleveland, and they don't happen all the time elsewhere. That's why it's OIC.
All right, so help me out on this one. Back, the Browns left themselves short of linebackers. Do you think the decision now to let Joe Schobert...
I know where you're going.
Well, I'm going to Joe Schobert's house and find out if the Browns made the right decision on that.
Well, I mean, Joe Show is probably going to be just fine, but I mean, I don't think you look at the Wilson trade the Wilson injury and then say, well, did they make the right decision in letting Schobert go? We said it at the time, Les. We said it at the time. We didn't need an injury to Wilson to say this, that it was a risk. It was a gamble because Schobert was the glue. He was the brains of the operation back there on the defensive side, and he was, a very valuable piece to that defense. But I guess he priced himself out of the Browns' plans. So
and the Browns don't value linebackers very highly, and I think this is an indication that they don't seem that's a problem, not missing some of those linebackers. I don't know that can be true, but that's what it looks like. All right, now is it now the time to go after my guy, Mr. Mack? Clay the third.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, Les, I get that they're completely different players. Mack Wilson is not an off the edge pass rushing type of linebacker. So you're talking about a different player. But as long as Clay is out there, I'm going to hold out hope, like you are, that he will sign with the Cleveland Browns. I haven't checked as of this show exactly if he signed anywhere, if there's anybody that's got their hooks into him, but I don't see why you wouldn't bring Clay in. And by the way, we've said this all along, Les, regardless of what happened with Mack Wilson, we still wanted Clay in here.
Well, and let me just throw this one out at you. Jimmy and Dee Haslam last year said they're going to try to do whatever they can to get Clay Sr. into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, right? I mean, his brother Bruce is in there, and you have left out playing at the time is the third. That, of course, Clay Matthews the third. And you would think that the feel-good story that would be, even if it was 4 weeks on the schedule of the two Matthews with the Browns, that might help the PR situation. I know you got to get guys who can play. PR is a different ballgame, but still, it's there right in front of your face, and there are people out there that they might go after that don't have the cachet that Clay the third has.
Yeah, that's called bonus material, and you said it, and so do I. You don't sign a player for the sentimental part of it, but if it comes with the talent, then you're happy about it. We point to the back of Clay's football card that states that he was a pretty decent player last year. He wasn't all world. He tailed off a little bit in the second half of the year, but if he had been all world, he wouldn't be out there right now.
Exactly.
But he still had a decent season. I think it was 8.5 sacks or 8 sacks.
Yeah, it was early. At the early part of the season
here's
was
the thing.
Strength.
What's that?
No, I lost you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it is possible, Les, that Clay is waiting to see how the injury situation unfolds in NFL training camps, because maybe he has his eye on a couple of teams and he doesn't want to play for anybody but this group of teams. And if any one of this group of teams has injuries and suddenly needs them, he'll be ready to go. Otherwise, he might ride off into the sunset.
It's a good point. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/More Sports and Les Levine. It's real easy. We post the question in the morning. You respond anytime during the day. We play it at night. And there you go. How simple is that? More Sports, Les Levine on Facebook. We'll come back in a moment. We are powered by cleveland.com. Dennis Manoloff is the D-Man. It's a Tuesday night. More Sports and Les Levine into its 25th consecutive year.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Yeah, I've known Baker a little bit. Obviously, we played against each other 2018. He came there to Denver and got the better of us then. So, I've known he's a gamer and can make some big-time plays and some big-time throws. I was really excited to work with him and being here to see. I mean, I was telling somebody yesterday, he's got a lot stronger arm in person than he does on film, and he made some really good throws, through some really good throws on film. So it's been fun to get to know him first, and then see him work, see him operate, see how he interacts with teammates. I'm very impressed. I would say we've got some great coaches, man, and they're doing a great job of and I don't want to put too much out there in certain situations, but. Baker and I have had some great discussions about plays. And Baker has a lot of experience too with a lot of similar plays, and he's got more experience with these receivers. So it's kind of a good give and take, because I like to talk to him about, hey, how does this guy run this route? What experience do you have with him and how he sees this? So, it's been good both ways. And, I'm learning from him. I hope he's learning from me, but I'm definitely learning a lot from him.
Case, I've been around him, so I know him. He's a son of a coach. He loves this game, and he wants to win, and he wants to be a part of winning. And I know that relationship obviously is so important between the starter and the backup. And I can tell you that he's eager to help this team win in any way he can, and that's supporting Baker in any way he can.
You start a new team with new coaches, new system, and all that stuff. You make some moves, and some people will say that's a bad move, that's a good move. How can anybody knock the move of Keenum? It seems to be a perfect role for him.
There's no question about it. By the way, I was checking my phone to see if Clay Matthews had signed somewhere. He's still out there, as far as we know. Keenum checks so many boxes when it comes to a backup quarterback, because you don't want, especially when you have a number 1 overall pick who's entering his 3rd year, coming off of a rocky sophomore season. You don't want a quarterback controversy. You clearly want the number 1 guy to be the number 1 guy, but you want the backup to be competent and to preferably to have some stuff on his resume, and in the fact that he was actually a decent player, or has been, and Keenum can point to that season a couple years ago in Minnesota where he was really good. And so
under Stefanski,
you have a guy who is a veteran, who has not only experience but was productive for at least one season and has been in parts of some others. Very smart guy. Obviously knows the system, coming with Stefanski or from the Stefanski system. He's familiar with it. And you could see him being a guy who, while he's competitive, understands the dynamic, knows that Baker's the guy.
Stay out of the way.
But will be ready to go if need be.
Right. Otherwise, stay out of the way. Hey, last night, Bud Shaw was on the show, and we had mentioned as part of a promo that we are now into our 25th consecutive year of doing More Sports and Less Levine, the TV show. I found a hidden bobblehead in my hidden closet last night, and we gave it out to a gentleman who guessed who the first guest was 25 years ago. We're talking about 1996. Any idea who that first guest was?
Feller?
Feller is a good guess. So is Hal Lebovitz, but incorrect. I'll give you one more shot before we take a break.
I need the initials.
Nah, that gives it away. Gives it away.
Brian Anderson.
No, that's a good guess. If you figure the year and who was hot in the year, yeah, I would agree with that. We'll carry it on throughout. Somebody did win it last night.
Player. Omar.
Omar was one of the best guests I've ever had. He was phenomenal. We had him right after the book came out where he nailed Mesa.
Yeah.
Fabulously entertaining. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 locations, east, west, and south. There you see him right there, West 140th Street, Lakeland Boulevard, and Freeway Boulevard. That's in Macedonia. Check him out, northeastfactorydirect.com. We'll take a break. We'll come back in a moment with the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff. More Sports and Less Levine, powered by cleveland.com.
Wow! Get Nature Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Blend Stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Only Nature Stone eliminates cracked, uneven concrete, and Nature Stone never peels like cheap paints and coatings. Safe, beautiful garage flooring that's always backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Hi, welcome back to More Sports and Less Levine. Les, Dennis, the Browns entered the 2019 season last year with a lot of hype, but they failed to meet expectations, finishing with a 6-10 record. A big reason with that was because Baker Mayfield looked out of sync in the offense. partially because of coaching, offensive line, and other things like that. ESPN.com took a look at Baker Mayfield as the biggest variable to the Browns succeeding in 2020. A lot of offseason moves were made to help make him better, including shoring up the offensive line by adding Jack Conklin, Jedrick Wills, bringing in a top tight end in Austin Hooper, and changing coaching in Kevin Stefanski. They projected a floor and a ceiling for the Browns in 2020. The floor being 6-10 and the ceiling being 11-5. Les, D-Man, if the Browns are able to succeed in 2020, it's going to be because of Baker Mayfield. A lot rests on him. So my question to you guys is, can the Browns succeed in 2020? What kind of year do you think Baker Mayfield will be able to have?
Well, they don't succeed if Baker Mayfield doesn't have a great year. They are fortunate. They have depth in a lot of places, and that depth, usually depth is a problem for a team that isn't that good. But this team is good. Can they stay away from the major injuries? Well, they've had one or two already, and that is a problem. But I think that Baker Mayfield is everything is set to go in his favor with the new coach and the kind of players they got to back up. I think this could be a good year for Baker Mayfield.
I agree with you, but here's the thing. We just got done talking about Case Keenum as the ideal backup, and one of the reasons he's ideal is because if Baker goes down, you don't feel like your season is a waste when Keenum comes in. You feel like he's a backup who can actually win you some games, or at the very least manage you to victory. Therefore, I don't know about that floor being 6-10. I guess if Baker is bad and they make him play the entire season, I guess 6-10 is probably the floor. But I'm thinking more along the lines of, if Mayfield goes down, would your season be sunk? And I don't think it necessarily would be, because I think Case Keenum is a good enough backup that he can actually come in there and help you get where you want to go.
You didn't say it till near the end right there about Keenum, but you take a look at the other teams in the division in Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. If their quarterback gets hurt, it's a whole new game at that point. Whereas at least the Browns should be able to be somewhat effective with Keenum. You don't look at any of the backups for the other teams in the division and say, "Oh, we got to be careful with those guys. We got to devise something to stop them." And I don't think that's the case at all.
Yeah, unless the other thing I was going to say about that floor ceiling analysis is exactly what you pointed out. You could say that about pretty much every number one quarterback in the NFL. If that quarterback plays well, the team has a really good chance of playing well. If that quarterback doesn't, then the team doesn't. So, it's almost like an understood part of the dynamic that the top quarterback, or the number one quarterback on your depth chart, has to play well in order for you to succeed. But the point with the Browns is that Mayfield, given that he's the number one overall pick, given that a lot of moves were made to help him, he may be more important to a team's success than maybe another number one quarterback on the depth chart.
The Indians take on the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight. D-Man, when we get back, I want to talk about the Indians. It's a hot team. Nobody seems to want to talk about them. A lot of that has to do because of the pitching situation. In the meantime, we'll do that when we get back. We're getting close now to the event, which is Moving More with Less. It's Sunday, September 13th. And it's against the Browns are playing the Ravens that night, but it doesn't matter. There's no conflict at all. Go to events.beinmotion.org. This organization helps so many people, so many families and caretakers who are suffering with Parkinson's disease. I am part of that group, and I'd like you to take part in our event that's coming up. It's events.beinmotion.org. We'd appreciate it very much. So many people have volunteered, and it's tremendous. Whether it's $2 or $5 or $10, it all adds up, and it's all to a terrific cause, which is beinmotion.com. We'll take a break. We'll come back in a moment. We are powered by cleveland.com. The D-Man, Dennis Manoloff. More sports and less Levine continues in a moment.
We're living in uncertain times, but you don't have to put your future on hold. At Tri-C, you can move ahead while staying safe and saving money. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, check out Tri-C's programs and resources, because Tri-C is where futures begin.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Brown's Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Hi, welcome back to More Sports and Less Levine. Les, D-Man, the Indians have two glaring problems in their organization right now. One you guys were talking about earlier involving Mike Clevinger and Zach Plesac and what they pulled last week, breaking safety protocol. The other is their outfield. Other than Franmil Reyes, their outfield seems to have a real lack of hitting right now. MLB.com proposed something that could potentially solve both of these problems. They proposed that the Indians attempt to trade either Mike Clevinger or Zach Plesac and get Alex Verdugo from the Boston Red Sox. Verdugo, he's 24 years old in his fourth MLB season. He joined the Red Sox as a part of the Mookie Betts trade, and he's hitting pretty well right now, hitting .282, 5 home runs and 9 RBIs in 85 at-bats this season. In his career, which is 106 games so far, he's hitting in 2019, he's hitting .294, 12 home runs, and 44 RBIs in 106 games. Les, D-Man, what do you guys think? Should the Indians try and trade Mike Clevinger or Zach Plesac? And if they do, should they try and trade for someone like Alex Verdugo?
Well, Verdugo would be a guy you'd want, but I don't want to do it. I just, in this shortened, truncated season, there, I got the word truncated in, D-Man. In this season, I think you just play it out and see what happens and don't give up too much of the future to win one extra game. I mean, when you think about it,
yeah,
we all know how good Francisco Lindor is. How many games, right now I think the Indians are 24-19, something like that. 5 games over the 500 mark. How many games has Lindor, arguably the best shortstop in the game, one of the top 5 position players in the game, how much difference has he made as far as wins and losses are concerned?
Yeah, I think they're 14-9 entering tonight, and they're on a 4-game winning streak entering tonight's game in Pittsburgh. when you talk about wins above replacement, Lindor, I think still is in the negatives, or it maybe break even. So but you'd say to yourself, how many games has he actually won for the Indians? I mean, he's had a couple games where he was the difference offensively, and yes, he's played really good defense too, as you know he would. But he's been a disappointment so far. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. But I want to go back to what Brian said, Les, about Verdugo. To me, number one, I'm not trading a player for being a bonehead, okay? That means I'm not trading Zach Plesac. He's young. He's got a ton of talent. He has an uncle, Dan Plesac, who pitched for 18 to 20 years. I can't remember exactly how long. But to me, Zach Plesac is a guy that you hang on to. Clevinger is a little different because he's older and his delivery is more violent, and I think he's more susceptible to injury. So maybe, just maybe, I would explore moving Clevinger. But as you said, do you do it in this crazy season? And my answer to that would be no.
Tell me, have you heard from the uncle Plesac at all? I haven't heard from him. Actually, the last time we heard from him was the day of the event when the thing took place. He was interviewed by USA Today about his nephew, and then we haven't heard anything since. I assume he's in the discussions with his nephew to find out what the heck he was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird because I remember having a nice interview with him at Tribe Fest, at the Huntington Bank or the Huntington Convention Center downtown. The most personable dude and all that. But for him to come out with the ride along video and blame the media and say the media is terrible and all this stuff, obviously that didn't sit well with his team either. So you wonder what's going on. And what is doubly puzzling with Plesac is we just mentioned he has Dan Plesac as a mentor, you would think, as a guy who has been through it all, and who could tell him, hey, you made a mistake, own up to it, apologize, keep your mouth shut, take your medicine, and ride it out, and then come back better than ever. Don't go double down on the boneheadedness with this video. So I'm puzzled as to why a guy with Plesac's lineage and the fact that he has an uncle who played in the big leagues for so long would do something like that. But all that said, I'm not trading him because there's too much upside. You have too many years of control of him, and therefore I just want Zach Plesac to learn his lesson and pitch great for the Indians for years and years.
Here's the other thing with Dan Plesac. Being around as long as you said, he is friends, or at least has some kind of relationship with Terry Francona. That's number one. And if he needs to talk to his nephew about the organization, I think that Dan Plesac can probably name a few organizations that were not nearly as good as the Cleveland Indians are, and he can say how good Antonetti and Chernoff are, as well as Francona and the rest of the staff. I mean, Dan Plesac has seen it all, and you'd think by now it's been imparted to his nephew.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Les. And here's the other part of it. When Zach came out with this ride-along video and was saying the media is terrible, the media stuff, can you imagine if Zach Plesac had done what he did as a member of the New York Yankees, as a member of the Boston Red Sox, the New York Mets? I mean, think about what a field day those media would be having with Zach Plesac, not only at the time that he broke curfew and broke protocol, but then when he doubled down with the video, they would be destroying him. So if he thinks it's so bad in Cleveland, he's probably got another thing coming in several other markets at the very least.
Well, Paul Hoynes has probably received a lot of email and texts from other media members saying, boy, you got it so easy in Cleveland. All you do is wait for something to happen, and it does. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? But here's what I love, though, about a Terry Francona managed. By the way, Terry Francona, not with the team in Pittsburgh, continued health issue, the gastrointestinal issue. He had a procedure, I think it was the Monday off day, or maybe it was Tuesday, but he's missing the Pittsburgh series. They hope to have him back for the Tigers series at home beginning Friday. But the Indians have had all.
All right, 216-575-04.
Right there with the Twins at the top of the division. So
575-0403 is the number to call if you'd like to get in before the end of the show. If you've got some quickies, now is the time to do that. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 great locations. There you see them. Guaranteed price, a price guarantee within a year. Check it out on the website. And that, of course, is northeastfactorydirect.com. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Les Levine is powered by cleveland.com.
Never replace your basement flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Pearl Stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
This date in sports history, Bill Veck sends 37-inch tall Eddie Gaedel to pinch hit for the St. Louis Browns, and not surprisingly, he was walked on 4 consecutive pitches. Bob, boy, now I can't think of it. I wish I could think of it. There's a guy in Euclid who is the one who pitched to Eddie Gaedel. First name was Bob. I can't recall his last name. Interviewed him. He was tremendous. It was about 15, 20 years ago. That's a great story. If you don't know the story and you got kids, check that out with Bill Veck and Eddie Gaedel. 216-575-0403. Birthdays for today. Let's check them out. Bobby Richardson of the Yankees, Mike Raffone, great announcer, Ned Yost, Gary Gaetti, Morton Anderson, and Kirk Cousins. They're all born on this date in sports history and real history. Facebook question of the day, D-Man. By the way, we have quickies, so you'll want to get ready to judge them in the next segment.
You know, Les.
Yeah.
Les, I'm trying to find the Bob too. Was it Kane? Bob Kane?
Bob Kane.
Bob Kane. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, now he passed away, I'm going to guess 10, 12 years ago, but he was a tremendous interview on radio. Facebook question of the day. In the early going, have the Indians exceeded your expectations, overwhelmed you, or are they about right where you thought they'd be? Josh Woodward says, well, I had higher hopes for some of these younger players in the outfield, like Zimmer and Mercado. They're disappointing so far, along with others. Lindor doesn't look like himself right now, just swinging at garbage. The rotation was doing good until, if not better than I expected, and not until you give a reason for Adam Plutko to be added to it. Tim Ross says, of all the options, I thought the hitters, especially Santana and Lindor, would be better, and the bullpen would be worse. But I thought the starting pitching would be good. Not as good as given over the last 2 weeks, but overall the record is about where I thought they'd be. Interesting, D-Man. This kind of truncated season, there I use the word again, it probably is more important to have a good bullpen than it is to have 5 deep in the starting rotation.
Yeah, the Indians, listen, they haven't done much in the hitting department on balance. Yeah, they've had a few games that jump out at you, but to be where they are right now in this crazy season with all that's swirled around them, I'm sorry, I take 14-9, given the offensive struggles and, as I said, the distractions.
Only a
this
game and a
team's
half.
going to be fine.
Yeah.
They'll be fine, Les.
Game and a half out of first place right now behind Minnesota. Mark Jelisic said it's kind of your typical Francona team, good at beating up the bad teams and bad as beating up the good teams. D-Man, I don't get that logic. A win is a win, and I don't care, they don't put asterisks by it and say, well, they beat so-and-so, but they lost to Detroit. You win the games they give you. That's what you're supposed to beat the heck out of those teams.
Yeah, Les, and I've done this before, and I've gotten yelled at. How dare you compare the Browns to the Patriots? I'm not comparing the Browns to the Patriots. Belichick, Brady feasting on the AFC East. Does anybody ever talk about how bad the Jets, the Bills, and the Dolphins have been for the most part?
And you play them twice a year.
Yeah, but nobody seems to care about that. But when the Indians feast on the AL Central, they play in a terrible division.
I'll tell you what.
Play what's in front of you.
When you start beating teams 20 times in a row, I don't care who you're playing. That's a phenomenal feat.
Les, the Minnesota Twins this season had a stretch where they lost 3 out of 4 to the cellar-dwelling Kansas City Royals.
Right.
Truly in baseball, any team can beat another team on a given day. That's just how the game is set up.
Hey, what did you think about my opening comment where I said announcers, play-by-play on color guys should not be allowed to talk about instant replay while it's going on?
You're the first one I've heard that's articulated it that way. I'm fine with your proposal. Why not? Because, like you said, when we're looking at replays, although I will say this, Rick Manning is pretty fair when it comes to whether or not a call should go against the home team. Manning he judges it pretty much down the middle.
Well, this was not a shot at Manning or Underwood. I'm just saying that what's the difference? You got 4 umpires who are going to tell you within 2 minutes what the call is.
Right, but I want to go back to something else you said, Les, in that opening comment about the unwritten rules. And we of course, we talk about or we think about the Padres and the Rangers and, Fernando Tatis Jr., the uber-talented youngster for the Padres, the young shortstop. He swings away on a 3-0 and hits a grand slam when his team's up by 7. And the Rangers are all upset about it. That's a bunch of malarkey. Stop with that nonsense, the unwritten rule crap. Give me a break. If you're getting bludgeoned like that, I don't care what the count is. You're allowed. I mean, if you're winning big and you're in a 3-0 count, you go ahead and swing away, for crying out loud. Who am I to tell Fernando Tatis Jr. that just because his team is ahead by a lot of runs late in the game, he can't swing away at a 3-0 pitch with the bases loaded and potentially not hit a grand slam? I mean, that's nonsense.
I mean, you're not telling me that the pitcher's not trying to get the batter out.
Right, and Les, this is professional sports, okay? This is not T-ball.
No
this
participation
is not
trophies.
League. This is not Pony League. This is not Colt League. This is the major leagues. If you have your feelings hurt because of something like that, then you're probably in the wrong profession, or you're at the very least at the wrong level. Why don't you just bag the whole Major League Baseball thing and go manage or play in Legion Ball or something?
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the D-Man at his finest, the D-Man Dennis Manoloff. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll get to some How Come Quickies. I don't know. They might be a good batch. You never know. More sports than Les Levine is right here. And you, of course, can see us on cleveland.com.
Wow! Get Nature's Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Blend Stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Only Nature's Stone eliminates cracked, uneven concrete, and Nature's Stone never peels like cheap paints and coatings. Safe, beautiful garage flooring that's always backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, Mary Kay Cabot of cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer joins us. She will get here after whatever goes on in Berea, and then we'll chat. That's tomorrow
Les,
night. Yeah.
What does Mary Kay say about our guy Clay?
Oh, she wants him.
Okay.
She wants him. We'll know more. I mean, there's a bigger need for him tomorrow than there was last week. So we'll see what happens. All right, you ready? You ready to grade some of these quickies?
Yes, sir.
All right. This comes in from who? Who is this? It's got to be from somebody. Huh. Well, I don't know who it's from. But he says, how come when the doctor's office called my grandfather and said his check came back, he said, well, so did my arthritis. Do I need to repeat that? I'm not going to give you, that was door number 2. I was not going to give you door number 1. They keep trying to get...
Do you have Gullible in the batch?
Well, depend. For example, Mr. Gullible sends in a whole bunch of them, and he assumes, so if he sends in 5 of them, that's 5 that go into the batch. But if I already throw out 4 of them, that lowers his ability to win. Like this one. How come my doctor told me I'm living in the Stone Age? Kidney stone and golf stone. I don't know. He's been better, right? How about this one? How come the music teacher's car was hit, but the damage looks to B minor? Let me repeat that.
Very good.
How come the music teacher's car was hit, but the damage looks to B minor? You got to give him. If Bud Shaw was here, that would be a 7.4. Because I
like it.
You like it? All right. You got about a minute. What's on your mind? The mind of D-Man.
What's on my mind is this crazy, wacky world of Major League Baseball in 2020. You can't take your eyes off it, Les. I never thought I'd say this.
I wanted to be against it, against everything that happened, and I can't take my eyes off it.
Yeah.
I find myself now saying when there's a gapper in the left center, I'm saying, how come the crowd isn't making any noise here?
It's just unbelievable. I mean, you have postponements every day. You've had 2 teams ravaged by COVID, and that's sad in and of itself and whatnot. But you've had all this craziness with MLB and then the wild and wacky games and the 7-inning doubleheaders and
then on top of it, they throw LeBron's team in and they lose a game.
I mean, it's just like, well, you know what? I'm actually enjoying watching this MLB season. I don't ever want to admit it, but I just did. I can't believe I'm enjoying MLB 2020.
I'm with you on that. I didn't want to be. I was totally against anything that had to do with the truncated season. But no, look what they did to me. I'm all in on this thing.
They're sucking you in like a Hoover vacuum cleaner.
You can't even say, if there were 100 games left, you could say the Indians have a chance or don't stand a chance. You can't say that about this group right now. And the way a 60-game season, you can't do it. It's not possible.
Well, unless you got 8 teams in each league making the playoffs. So, I mean, so many people. Hey, listen, MLB finally gets to experience what the NFL does.
Right.
Which is everybody is in the hunt.
Until they're not in the hunt. All right, here's one thing I don't want to happen. I don't want 2 months from now, when this is over, I don't want people to think Rob Manfred is a genius.
I hear you. I don't know though. Some of these things he proposed, they're actually growing. Les, I never, ever thought that a runner on second base with nobody out to start the 10th would grow on me, but it's starting to grow on me. And one of the reasons is so many teams refuse to bunt that runner over.
They'll find out
to third base.
They'll find out soon enough when the losses tally up. They had last night. I'm watching the game. I'm watching the Indians game against the Pirates, and each team I think had a guy at second base, and whoever was on it was saying, well, they haven't scored yet from second base. He says, that's impossible. You know, you assume that you should be able to score every time, and it's not so easy to bunt the ball, by the way.
Well, unless, you know what else is remarkable to me? There have been a number of games where the visiting team in extra innings has failed to score. So all you need is the home team is 1 run, and that home team refuses to bunt the guy to third base with 1 out. I'm like, why in the world wouldn't you give up an out to put the winning run at third base with less than 2 outs?
I'm not an analytics guy, but that clearly shows up on analytics, and some of these old-time guys don't want any part of it, apparently. Or the real answer is they know that you don't know that their guy can't really bunt. We all assume a guy gets up there to bunt and he can do it, and that's not always the case.
Les, here's the thing. The analytics tell you swing away 3 at-bats in a row with a runner on second.
Right.
Whereas I'm telling you, as a common sense viewer and as a guy who's talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of major league players over the years, get that runner to third base with 1 out and take your chances.
Then hit 180-foot then hit 182-foot fly ball to get the run in.
There's so many things that can happen to a pitcher that will allow a runner to score from third base that can't happen if the runner's at second base.
That's a good point. And, you know, they're stiffening up a little bit when they're thrown to the home plate on that same pitch. When a guy's on third and the home plate is empty, they're easing up a little bit more.
And Les, real quickly, too, not only MLB, but NHL, NBA have done a fabulous job with production where you don't even feel the fans aren't there. And don't think for 1 second the NFL isn't taking notes. I'll bet you the NFL's production value for their games is so high that you'll barely notice the fans aren't there.
Great job as always by the D-Man. D-Man, we'll see you next Wednesday night.
Thanks, Les.
Thanks, Dennis Manoloff. All right, we'll see you tomorrow night with Mary Kay Cabot. We, of course, are powered by cleveland.com. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.